Hey everyone, I look a bit of a mess, but you're not going to be staring at me for long because we are going to get some stuff done up here in the studio. I've got a lot of wiring through. I've hit a slight snag already, but I'll explain all of that in a second. Let me show you all the cables that I've got, and I'm going to try and explain how to hook them up and hook it all up on camera. So let's go. Okay, so firstly let's start off with a simple bit. This is the multicore. So this is where I'll be plugging in all of my microphones. 1 to 8. I could plug them directly into the desk, but it's a little bit inconvenient considering the desk and whatnot, you know, like the meter bridge covers the XLR connections. So these 8 input XLRs will permanently be plugged in to my desk, and then this box will be screwed wherever the convenient place is, anywhere in the room. It's a 10-meter cable because it's the smallest cable I could get. It's a multi-core designed for live use, really. You can't really find decent studio multi-cores with boxes on them because real studios have them built into the wall or whatever, so they have a proper box and stuff. But you know, this is a pretty cool multi-core. It's cheap as chips from Tommen, and hopefully it'll do the trick. This is just a keyboard pedal. I no longer have a keyboard pedal because I sold my keyboard. I sold the pedal with it, but I'll be getting a new one soon, so that'll be another video. Here we have a plug-in that I got with my keyboard. The keyboard hasn't arrived yet, but the pedal and plug-in have. This is actually... I got it free with my keyboard, but if you want to buy the plug-in standalone, this sort of addictive keys grand piano thing, it's quite expensive, so that's pretty cool. I got a good deal there. Over here, I've just got 2 XLR to XLR connections, nothing fancy. They're just cordial cables, few meters each, just to go from my desk to my speakers because I'm running jacks at the moment and I want to upgrade to running XLRs, so that makes sense. And then we have the complicated part. Now, this is where I've hit a slight snag, but actually no, this isn't where I've hit a snag. Let me explain this first. Here we have 8 balanced connections, 8 balanced jacks to 8 balanced jacks. So because my interface is an 8-in, 8 analog in anyway, it's 16 by 16, but that's if you include ADAT. But basically I'll be going out of my desk from the 8 buses and into the 8 inputs of my interface. So that makes perfect sense. That all will work perfectly. Now I have another one of those cables and it's identical, 8-8, but this is for the output coming back out of the computer into the desk. Now this is if I want to EQ something after I record, in a post-production setting, or add compression or whatever, that's hardware compression, anything I want to do to it. You know, I want to get it from the interface back into the mixer. Now, I thought because this interface has 8 physical jack outputs, I assumed that you could just route the software to the outputs. Now you can, but these 2 headphone sockets on the front act as 4 outputs because they're stereo connections. So what I'm going to have to do is get an insert lead and use it like that, so a balanced jack to 2 mono jacks. So I need to order 2 of them, so that's not really cool, but you get channel 5, 6, 7 and 8 out the front, and then you get 1, 2, 3, 4 out the back, because that's left on the main mix, right on the main mix, left on the alternative mix, and right on the alternative mix. So that's all going to work out pretty well. I'll only be able to get 4 back into my desk today, but that's no real big issue. You see they're all color coordinated here. Now what I've done to make things a lot easier is put a number and then a color on text edit here, so I know that 1 is grey, 2 is white, 3 is yellow, 4 is orange, etc, etc. So I know how to plug all this stuff in. Now the first thing I'm going to do is stick you on the tripod and get rid of all of the temporary cables that I've been using out of the way to make room for the new proper cables. Now then, this is quite a wide shot of the room, so maybe the audio is going to go a little bit crazy, but I just really want to get this wired up. I'm a little bit on the stress side. I'm not quite sure why, but hopefully we'll get it all sorted. I'm a little bit stressed out actually because I thought I'd get 8 in and 8 out of the computer today, but unfortunately I can only get 8 in and 4 out because I didn't know that it grouped those headphone connections as 1 and 2 and stuff like that. So that's kind of not too great. But other than that, as long as you have the appropriate cables, the routing capabilities of the software are absolutely incredible. It's amazing because I'll show you the mixer on screen in closer detail in a later clip, but it's absolutely fantastic. Really, really good. Now then, just a little bit of explanation while I'm doing this. This is partly why I'm filming this, is so that I can talk to you guys about this. This is a 16-channel desk, but as you guys have probably realised, I will be using it as an 8-channel setup. Now that gives me a massive world of possibilities, simply because I can put my 8 microphones here and my 8 returns from the computer here. So I can literally have full control over the entire EQ and the entire auxiliary section on each channel, which is fantastic. But it gets even better because each channel has an input selection switch. So basically, what I could do is I could plug 16 mics in, but then all I have to do is plug my 8 inputs from the computer into channel B on this same channel, and then just switch the switch. So it's absolutely fantastic. So the first 8 channels are going to be loaded up with microphones on the A section of the channel, and then if I ever want to insert anything like a synth or a line level instrument or whatever, I can insert that into line B, and when I don't want to record a mic and I want to record the line, I just hit the switch. So I've got a whole world of possibilities, which is a really, really nice feeling actually. So hopefully it's going to be quite a flexible setup. Now, basically all I've got set up back here at the moment is a couple of jack leads, just experimenting with input and output from the interface with my desk. But that's going to be all permanently wired, so that'll be really handy. And once this is permanently wired, guys, it'll be so easy to record. I can just literally pull up a Logic session, throw it all together. I'll set my default inputs and outputs in Logic so that I can get it to automatically output certain buses to certain places, and I'm sorted. So I'm really looking forward, as long as it all comes together. I'd hate to hit a problem that would stop me from setting this up the way I want to set it up. Because when you've got an idea, especially about stuff like this where you're talking about multiple inputs and outputs, if your idea gets limited by the technology, then that could be a pain, simply because it's a pain and nothing else other than a pain. So now then, I think the first thing I want to plug in is just get the big boy out of the way, and that is the multicore itself. So I'll run the XLR connections through the back and we'll see where that gets us, because once this bad boy is in, then it'll be out of the way basically. So yeah, this is quite exciting actually. I'm not gonna, like I think I already mentioned, I'm not going to permanently attach this multicore anywhere yet. I'm going to use the studio a bit, and obviously I can move it around to see where the best place for it to go would be. But it's just easier having a multicore in this kind of setup, because I'm going to have so much stuff plugged into the desk. It would be awful trailing XLRs over the desk and stuff. It just makes it a much cleaner setup. So just untangling the damn thing now. Right then. I've managed to get those connections through. I'll come and give you guys a closer look at what I'm doing. So guys, the multicore's plugged in. You can see we have our first 8 channels occupied, all with XLRs. Looks really neat, and I will never have to unplug them now because they are permanently wired into here. So that when I want to plug a mic in, I literally just grab my XLR cable that's attached to my mic, and if I want to go into, let's say, channel 3 on the desk, I stick my XLR like so, and boom, because this is a nice single cable multicore, I have got my mic coming through on channel number 3. Some of you guys might think this is really obvious, but I have a lot of viewers that this is their first kind of time watching any of this stuff, so Hope you guys are enjoying. So to do this, guys, we're gonna grab one of these 8x8 looms, and we are gonna first untie it from all the packaging. Now the reason I'm going out of the buses is just because you get a bit more control and you get a bit more leveling, a bit more monitoring on the desk, and also it makes it really easy to send computers from the send tracks from the computer and to the computer at the same time if I want to record things like compression and EQ from the desk in a post-production setup. So I need to get my little text edit document on the go. My mouse has actually fallen down here. Okay, let's get my mouse back on board. Right then. So I can see channel number 1, grey. So it's literally a case of just taking an end of this cable and plugging it into the desk. So let's feed the other end through the back. Ready to do the same thing on that end in a minute. Perfect. Right then, so out of these outputs we have grey in 1, white in 2, yellow. Wow, under this light, yellow and orange look really similar. Hang on a sec. Let's pull that up there. I believe that must be yellow. Very strange. Orange. Red. Purple. Blue. And green. So that's perfect, all wired up in there, looking really, really nice. Awesome stuff. Let me zoom in just to show you those. There you have it. Nicely done. Okay, so now we're going to go the other side and plug them all into here. So 1 and 2 go into the front of this particular interface. Let's just grab the cable. There's not going to be a lot to see here, guys, because most of it is behind. Grey into 1, white into 2. Perfect. Now all these other colours get fed into the back. So what I'm going to do is pause the camera and I'm going to have to go back there with a torch and plug them all in. So I popped in a quick photo that I took of the back of my rack there just to show you guys the connections going into the back of the interface from the 8 buses. So now what I'm going to do is simply plug in. I'm basically going to do exactly the same thing. Oh, I've just put the tripod in the middle of my cable. Hang on a sec, guys. Sorry about this shaky footage. There we go. I put the tripod on my cable that I needed to use. So basically, now we're going to go from the interface into the desk. So sorry if this is confusing to some of you guys, but when you've been imagining how you want your studio set up for the past God knows how many months, and you've been planning all of the wiring in your mind, and then when I finally got this desk and I needed to incorporate, you know, all the wiring and that, it's I know how it goes in my own head, but it's kind of really hard to describe what I'm doing. But basically 8 in, 8 out, and there's my in, here's my out. So it kind of makes sense. But yeah, it's pretty cool nevertheless. And even though I can, until I get my cables, I can only get 4 back out of the computer. I'll still plug all 8 in, just because I'm going to need all 8 eventually. So all I have to do is follow the colours that are already plugged in, so I don't need that text edit document anymore. Sorry if you guys are getting a little bit of a strange view, but I'm going to throw another one of these back there. It's going to get quite cably back there, and that's another thing I want to mention. A lot of guys are going to be on about cable management. Yeah, cable management is definitely a big part of what I'm thinking about. You know, it's sort of quite a large priority, but the main thing with working with audio like this, especially microphone levels is the fact that you do not want any of your power lines crossing them. Now, I haven't yet got my power conditioners sorted because I don't have enough money to get a decent power conditioner. So I've kind of got everything running off of old extension leads at the moment, and I'm literally just going to cable manage everything once I've got all the cables installed, because I'm missing cables for my compressors, my effects unit. I need a headphone amp, so all of the cables going out of the aux sends of the desk into the headphone amp for separate mixes for people. So there's a lot of cables to come, and basically once everything's wired up, I'll then cable tidy everything. But until then, you know, it's just going to have to be a little bit messy back there. But, you know, it's a work in progress, so there's not a lot more I can do. While we're in this shot, guys, even though I need to plug in the other end of that cable I just fed down, but I might as well plug in the speaker cables so we can get some sound on the go and actually test out if my returns work, because if they didn't, it would be pretty catastrophic. But anyway, these are quite nice XLR cables, as I was saying. You know, you can definitely get a lot nicer speaker cables that are going to make your speakers sound a lot nicer, but I just can't budget for those kind of cables at the moment. It's so expensive to get nice speaker cables. But anyway, I'll just do what I can with the money I have for now. Let's pop those in. I can't see which way the pins are facing. Right, that way. So that is my right speaker. Actually, let me feed this down before I plug it in, just to make my life a little bit easier. And if I remember that that one's right, we'll feed the other one down as well. Let me plug that into the back of the speaker so I don't get confused. But there you have it, there's my two speakers plugged in to the outputs, absolutely perfect. So that is pretty much everything plugged into my desk for now. I'm going to need to spend a bit of money on insert leads so that I can insert every channel. That'll be 16 insert cables straight into my patch bay, but you know, that's something to do at a later date. Also need 6 jack cables to come out of the the auxiliary send. Some for my effects and some for my headphone amp. So that's very exciting. But what I'm going to do now, guys, off camera, is plug in my other speaker and my 4 returns. Well, hey guys, we have success. So as you saw from the photo, I've plugged in my 4 returns. Bit gutted that I can't get the 8 on the go, but I'm going to need to get some insert leads for those. But basically, I have set my main mix left and right to come out of here, and kick drum channel. So if you have a listen to this, you'll be able to see that if I push up my first 2 return faders, I get every instrument. But if I push up my next 2 return faders, I get nothing, because as you can see in Logic, drums haven't kicked in yet. But wait for those drums to come in and you'll hear the kick drum because it's up on the desk. Of course, you've got a bit of bleed through the other drums, obviously, because it's a recording, but bring up the main mix. So, I've set this up. Why? What's the advantage of doing that? Well, if you imagine, guys, this is how it's going to work. See, I'm glad I can explain this to you guys now because it's all set up. I insert a compressor here because eventually I'm going to have, because I've got some compressors down here. Say if I want to do some hardware compression or use my effects, everything on this channel I can do to this kick drum signal coming back out of the computer. And then, let's say if I want to route that to bus number 8, stick it in, and then I can record that straight out of that green one, back into channel number 8 on there, or whatever channel I route it to. So that's the flexibility. So I'll have one track in Logic with the totally unaffected version, and then I run it back through the desk if I want to do a bit of EQing with a nice warm EQs in the desk or whatever. So that's absolutely perfect. Really, really pleased with that. But anyway, I hope you guys have followed along with that. Yeah, so that's pretty cool. That's just a crap recording that we did in the first year. Literally the first recording we did, the first test recording. So yeah, I set all of that up in the mixer here, as you can see. So if I zoom in with the camera, you're going to get no screen flow or anything like that. You can see you have your mixes down the side. So you have your main mix, your alternative mix, your headphones 1 and your headphones 2. So that's 4 separate mixes, but of course left and right, so that's 8 channels. And then literally you just put up the channels that you want. So I've got door return, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, hard panned, and it couldn't be easier, because in the alternative mix, if we go down, where's my mouse? Let's take a look at this. So sorry about this terrible camera work, guys. I'm trying to do left-handed mouse stuff. Here we go. So if I click on alternative mix and you guys watch the faders, there you go. Those first 2 faders have gone down, next 2 faders have gone up. So perfect. That's all set up exactly the way I wanted it. All I'm going to do now is test all of the inputs. So that's what I'm planning to do now. Alright, so what I've done is set all of the faders to 0 on all 8 channels. Routed each 8 channel to its 8 buses. All the bus faders are level, and all line level inputs are set to 3/4 on the interface. And I have an SM57 here. And as you can see, I'm getting perfect signal on the desk as I talk into the mic back there. So that's me talking into the mic. Because it's routed to a bus, you can see that it's also being metered on the bus. So that's me talking on the bus channel, 11222212. If we come down to the interface, we're plugged into channel 1. So you can see it's picking it up on the interface right there, which is perfect. And of course, last but not least, it's picking me up on Logic. So that is absolutely perfect. If I wanted to get a higher level, I would push I'm going to push the interface to just over 3/4 on every channel, I think. But we're also not really pushing the gain that much on the desk initially. It's staying in the green, unless I shout into the mic, and then it goes up into the orange a little bit. Okay, but if I wanted to monitor myself, I can monitor myself through the computer. So that would be 1 and 2, that's my stereo at the moment. I'm picking up a bit of noise, as you can hear, but I am now monitoring on stereo output because that is routed to main mix, so I can hear myself through the monitors, which obviously you wouldn't really want to do while recording. So while recording, I'd have those faders down, but that's just a quick example of the interface working 8 in and 8 out. So what I'm going to do now is plug this XLR connection, because that's channel 1. I'm going to plug that into all 8 connections just to test every single channel. I've already got the track set up on Logic. Okay, so we are now plugged into input 8. There it is. All inputs work and they all come up on the computer. I've got a really nice hot signal going in. It's actually clipping ever so slightly on the desk. Clip, clip, clip. And as soon as it clips on the desk, it also clips on the interface. Clip, 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 clip. So it's really good, because I believe I've got the volumes on the interface set just right now. So that's really, really good. So guys, in summary, that was a very successful sort of evolution of my studio episode. Really, really happy with this. Of course, I've got to buy those extra cables, but that's not an issue. And you'll be seeing that along with a load more changes in the next episode. So I hope you guys are enjoying this so far. I'm not sure how long it's going to take me. I did say I wanted to be all done by the end of January, but there isn't going to be really a done stage, I don't think, because it's going to cost me so much money in cables, power cables and audio cables. It's going to cost me over 100 quid in insert cables alone, just to get the signal out of the desk into the patch bay and back from the patch bay and into the desk. That's going to cost me well over 100 quid alone, so maybe I'll just do it for the buses. Maybe I'll just insert on the buses or just insert the 8 return channels or whatever. But overall, really, really happy. Gonna find a space for this, obviously make the cable all neat and stuff. But in the meantime, I'm gonna have a little tidy up in here and have a little tiny quick go of some recording. So I'll be seeing you guys very, very soon in the next update.